Hi, I'm author Nancy Basile, and I write cozy mysteries. You can download a free prequel to my River Sutton mysteries using the link in the description below. This is the first book in the River Sutton mysteries. It's called Roadside Homicide, and it sees the main character, Robin Pierce, returning back to her small town in West Virginia, River Sutton, for her sister's wedding. And on her way home, she runs into a former high school classmate. Literally runs into him as he stumbles out into the road bleeding out, and she makes him a promise as he's dying. I'm going to read the first chapter in this to give you a taste of it. You can read this on paperback and on Kindle, and it's also part of Kindle Unlimited. Chapter 1. The zipper snagged. No amount of tugging or silent begging could coax it to go any further. She shoved the bag away from her, giving it what for, even if it couldn't understand anything she was muttering. Robin Pierce sniffed and pursed her lips. Her brand new, gorgeous burgundy leather suitcase should zip closed as smoothly as a spatula spreads frosting. Snags were not a welcome addition to her morning schedule, which was timed to the second for greatest efficiency. Not today. Nodding to herself, she marched into the bathroom, flipped on the light, and snatched the bar of lemon and rosemary soap she'd bought at the Maker's Market in a posh suburb of Cleveland. She marched back to the bed and unzipped her traitorous but beautiful new bag. She rubbed the bar along both sides of the zipper as softly as if she were caressing a baby's skin. Setting the soap aside, she gave the zipper another go. Yes! She returned the soap to its dish on the bathroom sink and snapped off the light. Time for a final check before hitting the road. Suitcase with enough casual clothes that flattered her curvy figure, including pretty underwear, bras, and nightshirts? Check. Matching toiletry bag with makeup, moisturizer, ponytail holders for her thick chestnut hair, a brush, and a razor? Check. Leather messenger bag with wallet? Check. Greeting card with a sentimental message and a gift certificate to Williams-Sonoma? Check. Cleared for takeoff. Robin piled her bags at the front door to her apartment. Flipping on the kitchen light, she scooped up her vitamin gummies from the counter, which was bare except for a top-of-the-line coffee maker and a sparkling clean toaster oven. She switched off the light again and trotted to the front door. Through the sliding glass doors that led to the balcony, the gray haze of dawn crept across the horizon of Lake Erie. Getting on the road this early meant she could spend the entire day with her family in River Sutton, especially her little sister Jen. They would have plenty of time to discuss dress fittings, updos, centerpieces, bouquets, toasts, and any other last-minute details brides fretted over. As a maid of honor, it was Robin's responsibility to make sure her sister's big day went off without a hitch. She hadn't played a big part in any of the wedding plans because she lived 2.5 hours away from River Sutton, the little town in West Virginia where she grew up. Jen hadn't needed her for planning the wedding, what with their mother and Jen's wife-to-be, Deb, on hand. But the wedding day was Robin's time to shine. Her sister's big day would rock if Robin had to slay dragons to make it happen. Or just to keep Uncle Eli away from the bourbon. Robin switched off the lights, slung her messenger bag over her shoulder, and dragged her other bags into the hallway, where brass sconces threw soft light up the walls and over the ceiling. She pulled the door closed, locked it with her key, tested the knob to make sure it was locked, and she was ready to go. Visions of Jen and Deb getting married had been flitting through her mind for weeks. As she rolled her luggage to the elevator, she pictured Jen with a bigger-than-life smile lighting up her face. Her little sister, getting married. Robin's bottom lip trembled a bit. She cleared her throat. Plenty of time for mushy feelings later when she could hug Jen and let her sister's joy wash away her melancholy. The elevator doors opened onto the dark parking garage under the apartment building. Although the sun wasn't up, a security guard was already on duty at the gate. Her skin pimpled in the chilly morning air. Her linen shorts and sleeveless cotton top weren't much covered right now, but once the summer sun was up, she'd be glad she wasn't wearing more. The drag of her suitcase's heels on the concrete echoed around the dozens of parked cars that belonged to the residents. She clicked her remote and her Subaru Outback chirped. After popping the hatchback, she loaded in her luggage, except for her messenger bag, which she dropped into the passenger seat after getting into the car. Shoulders hunched against the cold, she waited for her car to warm up. A jaw-cracking yawn had her blinking away tears and morning gunk. Before moving to Cleveland to boost her career as a website analyst, She hadn't been a morning person, but at North Star Consulting, she learned that to earn a promotion, her bountiful butt needed to be in her chair before the boss came in. After 5 years, she was used to waking up in the dark. She backed her car out of her reserved space and her stomach flip-flopped. Every time she went back to River Sutton, her nerves jumped. She had trouble shaking the feeling that she was still an awkward teenager. She had flourished in Cleveland, grown into the life she had always pictured for herself. But going back home aroused youthful insecurities about her curvy figure and her shyness. Hopefully, Jen's wedding would occupy enough of her time that she couldn't focus on whether she presented herself as the doofus she felt like inside. The Subaru's lights came on automatically as she pulled up to the security gate and put down her window. "You're up early for a Saturday, Miss Pierce." Nathan, the weekend security guard, leaned out from his booth and bent low to see her. "Heading home for my little sister's wedding." She couldn't keep a smile from her face. "I'm just a bit excited." "I can imagine. Best wishes to your sister." He stepped back into the booth and bumped his fist on a big red button as Robin put up her window. The gate lifted and she waved goodbye. Her car nosed out of the darkness of the garage into the glow of the rising dawn. "That'll be $6.25. Eyes half closed, a teenage boy wearing a black apron yawned, waiting for Robin to pay. Thank heavens there was a coffee drive-through a block away from her apartment. She required a giant cup of caffeine every morning to talk and walk upright, let alone drive 2.5 hours to River Sutton. She held her phone up to the window, and the boy shot it with his handheld scanner. Trying and failing to hold back another yawn, he handed Robin her 31-ounce cup of mocha. She drove to the curb and took a sip before she pulled out onto the street. Rich, dark, chocolatey coffee slid down her throat, warming her insides and putting a grin on her face. She set the drink in the Subi's cup holder and swung out onto the street. It was lovely to drive through Cleveland early on a Saturday, no traffic whatsoever. Other than a few early morning joggers, she had the roads to herself. She made it to the highway in record time and headed south. Robin had driven about 10 miles when Willie Nelson piped up on her phone with "On the Road Again." Last night she had changed her ringtone like she always did for special occasions and holidays. She had an entire list of ringtones to use for the wedding week, including Bruno Mars' "If I Knew" and "Chapel of Love" by the Dixie Cups. She placed her cup back in its holder and glanced at the console. It was her mother. Of course it was her mother. Only her mother would be awake this early and coherent enough to call her. Robin mentally girded her loins and tapped the green X on the screen. "Good morning, Mom." "Are you on the road?" Her mother's voice had a sing-song quality. Robin rolled her eyes. "Yes." Her mother knew very well she was on the road. That's why she was calling now. "What time do you think you'll get here?" Robin shrugged, even though her mother couldn't see her. "I don't know. 8-ish." "Oh, good. Then there'll be plenty of time for your fitting." Dull thumping noises sounded in the background. "What's that noise?" More thumping. "What noise?" "That thumping sound. Or knocking?" "Oh, I'm stirring cookie batter. I'm holding the bowl and the phone's on my shoulder. The bowl must be knocking the phone." Frances Pierce, her mother, was one of River Sutton's legendary bakers. Robin could remember how everyone's faces lit up when her mother would arrive at the school bake sale carrying a covered tray full of no-bake cookies or a stack of butterscotch pies. The PTA always placed her desserts front and center, partly for the patrons' convenience and partly to lure in more customers. "What are you baking?" "Mini cheesecakes for the reception." The knocking stopped. "I was hoping Jen could help out, but I guess her beauty sleep is more important." Robin could hear the sarcasm dripping all the way across the cellular signal. "As the bride, she's excused from all that, isn't she?" Her mother huffed. "When I got married." "Here we go." "I pitched in with the baking, the bouquets, the decorating, the centerpieces. You name it, I did it." "You also didn't have a lot of money to spend on your wedding. Jen and Deb both have brilliant careers and enough money to pay for a lot of that stuff." Another huff. "Still, a wedding loses something when nothing is homemade." Robin smiled. Her mother was only a generation older, but sometimes it seemed like she was born in the 1800s. "I'm sure Jen appreciates everything you're doing." As the sun rose above the horizon, traffic on the highway picked up. "Mom, I better go. I need to pay attention to the road." All right. Pause. Did I tell you that Aunt Chloe isn't coming to the wedding? Who's Aunt Chloe? Nope. She RSVP'd no, but I called her to find out why. Says she'll be on a cruise that she paid for months ago and couldn't cancel. That sounds reasonable. Who goes on a cruise at her age? I would argue that someone her age is exactly who should go on a cruise. Robin pictured her mother and father on a cruise. In her mind's eye, her father was smiling and holding a drink with an umbrella in it, while her mother glowered at the younger women wearing bikinis. Mom, really, I have to go. I'll see you soon. Love you. Love you too. Robin tapped the red X on her console screen to hang up. Robin reached for her mocha, but Willie sang out again. This time Jen was calling. Robin tapped the go button. I can't believe you're up this early. A growl issued from the speakers. Me either. Mom's been banging around the kitchen since dark 30 or something like that. Robin laughed. What's up? You know I'll be there in a couple of hours. Thank the heavens, Jen huffed. I need allies. Mom giving you trouble about the wedding? Robin glanced at all her mirrors, but she was alone on the road for the moment. What about Dad? He's Switzerland, refuses to engage in battle. Jen must have rolled over because Robin heard loud rustling sounds. Anytime he senses an argument brewing, he heads out to the barn to tinker with something. Your wedding is only a week away, Robin chided. How many decisions could possibly be left to make? Jen barked a laugh. You'd be surprised. We haven't even made the favors for the reception because I can't decide whether we should go frivolous or functional. Then there's the hors d'oeuvres menu. Sure, the country club knows we're going to have 3, but which 3 is the question. And I thought I had decided on flowers for bouquets and centerpieces, but I just saw an issue of Martha Stewart that showed a couple who went totally crazy and just used whatever wildflowers were in season. Now I'm wondering about that, you know? Deep breath. Robin demonstrated for Jen, forcefully blowing out a breath. We'll figure it all out. Big Sis is on her way. Wah, get here. Jen hung up. Smiling and taking another glorious sip of mocha, Robin put her playlist on shuffle and settled in for the rest of the drive. That is chapter 1 of Roadside Homicide, and you can use links in the description to get it on paperback, on Kindle, or as part of your Kindle Unlimited subscription.